as we start this.
Oh, hold on. We're starting our first game on the stream. I got to hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the first official streamed Artifact game? Let me hear it out there. Line players. Yes. We're beginning. Bruno?
That's it.
Let's talk about this bad boy. What do we got here?
So actually we get to see all 4 colors in this first game. Our Artifact champion, Luminous, is going to be playing a green-black deck.
That's correct. Now, you will notice that the health on the towers are a little bit different. We do have a bit of a handicap for our champions. They have 30 less HP on all 3 of those towers. Now, if you guys have never seen Artifact before, I'm going to give you the real quick spiel. You kill the towers, and you expose the Ancient. If you can kill the Ancient, you win. Or you kill 2 towers, and you win. So, a little difficult for our champions there.
Yep. Ancients are special towers that have 80 health as well, and they get exposed once you destroy a tower. So your choices are between destroying 2 towers, doing total of 80 damage among 2 lanes, or going full in on 1 lane, but you have to do 120 damage. So it is a little bit hard to commit only to 1 lane. You can't, just like in Dota, you shouldn't put all 5 heroes in the same lane. You're going to be ending up losing on the attack, but sometimes, you know.
That's right. There's a lot of different ways to win an Artifact. One thing that you guys are going to see a lot is the abandonment of lanes, the all-in on other lanes, the spread out. I mean, with all these different win conditions and all these different lanes, there's a lot of different ways to win, which is one of the more exciting aspects. So let's talk about these decks, Bruno.
Yes.
And what's happened so far.
So the very short version, the green-black deck is a deck that relies on ramping up on mana and ramping up on gold. Now, mana is a concept that a lot of you card players might be familiar with. Mana helps you play spells. You can see the cost of spells at the top left corner of these cards. 7 for Hand of God, for example, 4 for Savage Wolf, and 7 for Steam Cannon. You can only also, in this case, see the opponent's hand because we're spectating the game. So one of the things is, this deck helps you gain a lot of mana very fast. You see that every tower has 4 mana. We start at 3 mana per tower.
Yep.
It goes up 1 per turn. This deck has ways to ramp up your mana faster than just once per turn. This deck also ramps up in gold. It has cards like Ironfolk Goldmine that gives you gold constantly. Also, you have cards like Payday, which we'll see later, probably that doubles the amount of gold that you have. And also, of course, by destroying enemy heroes and enemy creeps, that will give you gold. Exactly 1 gold per creep killed and 5 gold per hero killed.
That's correct. Now, in this first lane, you're going to see this red hero Bristleback. Nobody blocking him and some massive damage onto that tower. Your red heroes are going to have a lot of damage, a lot of health, and usually a lot of armor. But while they're strong in the early game, they tend to fall off in the late game. Mid game is okay, though. They have some powerful summonable creeps. But as we saw right here in lane 1, a lot of damage for our competitor. And our champion, though, is dominating lane 2. 24 damage on that tower, summoning that little woofy lichen buddy.
Yes, and we talked about how powerful in the early game the red color is, but then to offset that, blue is really strong in the late game, and we will see spells like Eclipse, which will be able to, if getting enough charges, which you acquire by having Luna survive in the lane, you will have a lot of power to clear those lanes later and open the tower to those beefy red heroes that have a lot of attack power.
Yep. What we just saw there was a little passive from Zeus. Every card, hero card that comes in the game, typically has a passive and 3 specific cards that they come with, along with their own stats. Zeus' passive, every time that he plays, a blue card is played in his lane, he'll do a little static shock, just like in Dota, a little static field, and he'll do 1 piercing damage. So we just saw our Artifact Challenger kind of clear his board on lane 3 by spamming those very low-cost early blue spells.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the flow of the game.
Sure.
So the game starts in lane 1, the lane to the left, and then you go there, you play your spells, the opponent plays spells, you get to do 1 action each time, so you do something, they do something, you do something. At any point you can choose to pass, or your opponent can choose to pass. However, passing does not mean completely forfeiting the lane, it just means I'm going to wait to see if the opponent does something, and if they do something, you can still react to it by doing something else. Now, if both players pass in a row, then the lane is considered over at that point, and combat happens. And combat is everyone attacking their attack target. And you can see these little arrows, which most of the time will be facing the person in front of them. That will mean that, for example, in this case, Rix, this hero, will be doing 3 damage, as you can see here, to the creep, and the creep will be doing 2 damage to him. Yep. You can also see these red skulls here saying, hey, if we go to combat right now, this thing is about to die because it's taking lethal damage. So just so you don't forget and you don't have to do the math, because math is hard.
Math is hard. You know, big red X and skull typically doesn't mean a good thing. So
Nope.
you can tell that that guy's definitely going down here. A
Right.
Stone Hulk. Look, let's talk about items, Bruno.
Yes, so we talked about gold and how like this green-black deck wants to make a lot of gold, and the gold in general is killed in the same way that you have in Dota. Whenever you kill a unit, you get some gold out of it. Now, what do you do with gold? Same as in Dota, you buy items.
Uh-huh.
So at the end of the 3 lanes, we talked about how one lane goes. You go lane 1, lane 2, lane 3. After lane 3 is over, you will go to the shop. The shop will present you with 3 options to buy. We'll talk a little bit more about the options later, but the idea is that you can spend your gold into choosing one of those options to put into your deck. Now, once you spend the gold and you get the item, that item is free to cast. It costs no mana.
That's right.
So,
and it lasts forever.
And it lasts forever. You can equip it on a hero, like you can see these face boots here equipped on Luna. Face boots are a really interesting item that lets you swap the hero with another ally. We talked about combat, and we talked about how important it is to like know what you're hitting.
Baby.
And as we see that Luminous already took one of the towers of our challenger. Yeah, Facebook will allow you to swap. You have 3 slots for each hero, and a weapon slot, an armor slot, and an accessory slot. Weapons generally increase your attack, accessories increase your health, and armor increases your armor. Now, what is this number in the middle that some people might not be familiar with?
Ah, my friend, that is armor. Armor is essential in decks like red decks, but pretty good for everybody. Basically, it negates damage that's coming in. Let's say that a creep hits my boy Keith the Bold here, the ogre champion himself. Their creeps are doing about 2 damage, but he has 1 armor, so they'll only do 1 damage. It blocks that damage completely. There are mechanics in the game called piercing that will go through armor, but we won't be seeing any of that yet today. Let's go ahead and check out, well, let's talk a little bit about what happened in that middle lane. We saw the Ancient get exposed, Bruno. That's a big deal.
Yes, when you destroy a tower, you expose the Ancient. The Ancient is invulnerable for that turn, so you can't destroy the tower and the Ancient in the same turn. You have to wait until the next one. So no one-turn kill shenanigans here. And then after you get that, then, well, if you take the 80 health from the Ancient, as we said before, then you can win the game. Certain strategies rely on going hard for the Ancient, but also those strategies have a weakness. Ooh, and we saw a coup de grace there completely destroy. No matter how strong you are, even if you have 200 health, that coup de grace will take you. But you know what? Coup de grace as a fantastic card. It has a drawback. You have to discard a random card from your hand.
Yep, sometimes it could be okay, sometimes it can't be, but this kind of displays the different ways that you can win an artifact. So our champion here, Luminous, he's already taken this Ancient. He can decide to go all in on this Ancient, knock it down from 80 HP, and it looks like he's going to want to do that.
Oh, that's Desperation Eclipse.
Hello.
Not really accomplishing much. If you have enough charges in Eclipse, you can actually clear a lane, and you get 1 charge for every turn that Luna survives. However, with 5 charges of 3 damage with these many enemies, you're really hoping for something, and probably not the best use.
Whoa, come on, Bruno. He knocked out our little kobold over there and got her low enough so that he can cleave her to death. That wasn't the worst move in the world. He cleaned it out.
Well, here's the thing. They took that tower already, and Luminous might be thinking, you know what? I don't want my heroes in that lane anymore. And this is one interesting and very anti-intuitive thing at the beginning. Sometimes you want your heroes to die, and I think Lumi was completely happy with letting his heroes die, so he can actually relocate them in some other lane. He will have Rix in the fountain ready, and we'll talk about the scoreboard a little bit here. You can see in the top left corner not only which heroes are in which lane, how much health each tower has. This yellow one here is the Ancient that is exposed and glowing, and also which of your heroes are in the fountain and which of them are coming back next turn, marked with a check mark, and which ones are 1 turn away. Oh, a second Eclipse.
Now that was a very risky move, but he needed to get that extra damage on there so he could get lethal on this tower. So
yes,
he's dedicating an Eclipse, but he does take his Ancient. Now we're tied up, kinda. 2 Ancients are exposed, but things are looking pretty good for our Artifact champion.
Absolutely, and one card that I see the Artifact Challenger plays, Red Mist Pillager, is like, I think, one of your favorite cards.
Oh, that's my boy right there, my friend. Red Mist Pillager.
Yeah, go ahead, tell us what he does.
Oh, okay, so every time Red Mist Pillager hits the exposed tower or Ancient, if he does any damage, he will spawn another one. And if those 2 hit him on the next round, they will both spawn another one. And another one. Those boys get out of your hand pretty quick. If you just leave them alone to an exposed Ancient, they can quickly take that 80 HP down. Uh-oh, Bruno!
Oh!
That's an improvement, baby!
Okay, so we've seen these little circles. Some have spikes, some have glows. these little circles are improvement. Now, improvements are cards that you play on a lane, and they modify that lane forever. They stay there, and they have either sometimes a continuous effect, like giving your tower +2 mana, we talked about Ram before, or sometimes they have active effects, like Steam Cannon, which every turn allows you to deal 4 piercing damage to a unit in any lane. So as long as this improvement is here, whenever it's this lane's turn, he can actually go and shoot anything in any lane and get rid of whatever he wants.
Yep, it's an extremely powerful spell, but you're going to see these huge spells coming out around 6 or 7 mana. We're kind of getting into the late game here. However, a lot of these big blue spells are going to be coming out as well. You've been seeing a lot of these blue heroes dying, but this is when they start to kind of power ramp and get a lot better. So we'll be seeing powerful things coming out here. He has already used a lot of his eclipses, which are some of his better skills, but we'll see what he gets here, Bruno.
Yep, and the important thing is that he played the Conflagration in this lane. I think this is a really important play. Conflagration is, again, another improvement that at the beginning of that lane, it will deal 2 damage to everything in that lane. And we can see here already that Rix has -1 armor because of that Viscous Nasal Goo. Yes, you can have negative armor, and it works just like you would expect. You take more damage every time you take damage.
Negative armor is a nasty, nasty lady, okay? You get -2 armor. If you receive 1 damage, you get how much, Bruno? 2. That's math for you, ladies and germs. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're going to hit with 6 damage, -2 adds up pretty quickly. So anyway, let's check out this lane right here. He does have 1 Red Mist Pillager poised to attack that Ancient, which will spawn another one. Our Challenger looking okay in this lane. I'm not sure, though, that Lumi even cares. Part of our artifact is knowing when to get out of a specific lane, who cares about that lane, and moving on to try to take other ones.
Yes, and with this, Lumi ensures that no Red Mist Pillagers will be attacking the tower and stops the swarm. Now, if Red Mist Pillagers go out of control, as we said before, they can actually very easily take your Ancient.
Yep.
But they have only 2 health, so they're really easy to deal with. A melee creep can deal with them. So you can only play it and actually take a lot of advantage if you're playing them in a relatively empty lane.
Oh!
And Lumi now knows that he has to go for that win. He took that second tower, he wants to take that first tower, and he's pretty close to that. He also knows that there's no heroes coming back for the challenger, Dabney. So with no heroes coming back, that means that that first lane is open. And again, that's a really important thing to know. Sometimes you want to stagger your hero's death, and sometimes you might want to even kill your own heroes. Oh, actually, never mind.
Bruno, they're ready to go here.
No, they're ready to... see, I'm terrible. Never mind.
3 heroes respawning here. Our Challenger is not able to see where these heroes are going, so he's actually going to spread them out and put 2 in the middle. If only he knew that Luminous was going for the all-in. We'll see where this Earthshaker lands, though. That's not bad. That's actually okay.
Yep.
Let's talk about initiative here.
Yes.
As you're going to see, this Earthshaker is about to use his fissure ability here. And my friend, right?
As we said before, you take turns with your opponent playing spells or using abilities.
You're going to use your fissure ability, right, my friend? Down the door.
Yeah, he's smart.
He's a smart boy.
He will use his fissure ability.
He's definitely going to use fissure right here to save his lane, or he's in some serious trouble, Bruno. Anyway, continue about initiative.
Yes. So you take turns with your opponent playing, you play a spell or use an ability, they play a spell or use an ability, and it just goes back and forth every time. Which means that, for example, if Luminous was the last person to play a spell in the third lane, when we go back to the first lane, it will be Dabney's time to play a spell. Now, this is really interesting and really super important, because being the first to act in a lane gives you an action that is essentially uncounterable. Like if you have something that will destroy your enemy's power, or if you have something that will let you, for example, I don't know, take control of an enemy creep, like Chen does, or silence an enemy hero by disabling his spellcasting, then those are things that you want to do first. Now, how do you do that? You can't get initiative very easily, although there's some spells that let you do that. However, if you pass and you let your opponent use their spells...
Are you ready, Bruno?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I got... now would be a very good time for our Challenger to use the spell Echo Slam. I'm not trying to help you, but it would be quite the powerful Echo Slam right now, I would assume, sir.
Right.
Oh my goodness, how could he think of such a beautiful play? Our Challenger staying in the game.
I don't know how he does it.
What a genius.
Genius, yeah.
But
look at that. Woo. So I don't know if you saw what just happened. Lumi just coup de grace his own PA.
That was not a rage move, by the way. You guys that play Dota, you might think, I don't want my heroes to die. I'm very important, but in Artifact, it's a little different. Death is not the end. In fact, it can be just the beginning.
Yes.
Killing your own heroes allows you to remove them into other lanes, which is a very difficult thing to do in Artifact. There's only a few ways to do it. By repositioning his PA, he's ready to go for another strike here.
But he won't have time for another strike because time of triumph comes for a challenger. And with that, he takes that lane.
Oh my goodness, our challenger has beaten Luminous, our top tier competitor here today. Oh.